Okay, starting on another project, and let me try to do a quick drawing and give you an idea right off the bat what I'm doing. I need a boot rack for my long galosh style boots, which is long rubber boots. And I'm going to have two sections of board come out. This is from the side view. And I'm going to have a piece, which would be probably that one, that's going to be here at the back, but instead of being at a 90, it's going to probably be at maybe a 60. And so it'll come up, well, no, it'll be right here. And this board will come up like that. So it's going to be angling this way just a little bit. This is fairing strips. I had a buttload of these, so instead of running down the store and buying them expensive dowels, I'll just use these. My plan is that's going to be a 4-inch section there. So this will screw into that board, and 16 inches of it will be above. So that'll let my galoshes hang down with about between 1 to 2 inches of clearance. So what I want is the air to get in and out of them, because the boot will fit over it and kind of look like that. Let me get up there. Okay, you can see that. And I want it leaning that way, and that's why the weight will be going this way. This is going to be against the wall right here. Now kick it out a little bit. Now I want to do another one somewhere in this area, but it'll be shorter. And that way I could put another set of boots like that. Now this is just a side view of it. I've got to work out my spacing, these between each other. I'm shooting for around 4 inches or so. I'm going to use these drywall screws and put these together. But at the bottom, the 4-inch section, I'm going to leave open because I'm going to put a longer screw through that'll go in that board that is right there. So that's an idea right off the bat of what I'm trying to do. And also what I might do, and I put this up too high, is, okay, here's that bottom. This is this board. What I'm also thinking about doing, because I need to put more shoes on it, or more, this is only good. This is only good for 6, and I need more. I may do a board come up like that at a straight 90, and them leaning, it will be, I may have to come up a little bit further. The shoe will, be like that, and put small shoes up on top. Y'all getting my idea now? I'm going to start with that first, and then I'm going to try to do that. Depends on my space. So I got these cut up. I put my miter saw, and here's them fern strips, and I cut the first one, and then I used the first one, and I would just mark off and go from there, and I'd cut 2 at a time. Of crap, forgot what I was going to say. Anyhow, let me screw these pieces together. And I'll still have to cut more for the bottom section. And I still have to figure out what length, the spacing, and how wide this is going to be. So that's stuff I'm going to figure out. But this gives you an idea of how I'm going to start. And I'm bad about not showing you how I start or do things. And putting that angle, I may angle that a little bit more so it's easier to get them boots out from underneath the top piece. You see that may be angled out a little bit more. This being at the bottom, you know, is going to be easy to get these out. And I don't want that end of that shoe to come past the end of that. So that way, you know, when you're walking past it, you're not going to trip on it or knock stuff off. So let me figure some things out. I kind of wing a lot of stuff, but I work a lot of stuff out in my brain before I do it. And then sometimes I have to do a little modification as I'm going. But that's where we're at right now. And let me get busy. Okay. I marked 4 inches for the board. And that is... well, I should have thought about this before. $16, maybe a little bit more, but in that range. And you've seen I put 2 up here because I'm going to run 2 through here to put it through the 4-inch section. And I got a whole stack of them. Well, this is just the back row that I done that way. So there'd be 6 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, 6 total. So that's where we're at on the uprights. I may do a little sanding on that end. Okay. I just took a sander to them. I sanded these edges, and then wherever it was rough sawn, I did it. I did mostly this end. This end was going to be where the boot slides over. So rounded off these edges and done them like that. You seen that was rough sawn, and so I went ahead and did the whole thing. The line is be where it's going to bolt up to the cedar piece, but the tops made them nice. Don't want to leave no splinters in boots when you put the boots on. So that'll be that. So like I said, I did 2 up here, and there's going to be 2 that attach it to the cedar slat that's going to be at the bottom. So, this will be the bottom piece, and let me get an idea next on how much spreading I want to do on this. Okay, how do we figure out spacing? And I lined up the 3 boots that I want on this stand. And I kind of got, even though they're touching, I want them to barely touch, and that'll give me the maximum amount of room. And I put my stakes in there. I don't know what you call them, but we'll just call it that. And you can see this is what will attach to the strip that holds it, and I got a little bit of space, and so that gives these room to breathe and air out, which I want. And so now I can get an idea of my spacing. I know my width, full width, is going to be down here across this. And let me get this. So I'm looking at around, yep. Didn't set the brake on it. Okay, that time I did. So, looking at around, come on. Okay, locking in place this time. Y'all never have them kind of problems, do you? Get that up there. So I'm looking at around 28 inches, if I get that right. Maybe 29. Probably do 29 just for giggles. And do this again. Now it's going to be offset. I know it's going to be set off. The first one's going to be set off from the edge. So I'm looking at let me get one that's set up better. That's 3.5. That's about 2 3/4. That's 3.5. 3.5 seems good. Oh, these boots are kind of squished in right there. So I'm going to have to figure, I'd like to do about a 2-inch spacing from there on either side, and then work out. It looks to be about 3.5's good on that for in between there. And I might be ready to call it a day. It's getting, yeah, it's about 4 o'clock. But this will be the width of it. So you guys get an idea. Okay, let me see what I can do. Right now I'm running some numbers. You can see I use some small clamps. 2 inches from the edge. This is a 3-inch gap. That's a 4-inch gap. 2.5, 4-inch, 3.5. No, 3 and 2. I may move these 2 middle ones around. What I do is I measure and I put a dot. This is up. This is 29 inches. And trying to get a good idea of how to space these. 3 inches seems good on this pair and this pair. And I could probably go over, I mean, that's 4 inches and that's 4 inches. But there seems to be a good gap right here. What I kind of looking for is breathing room. That way they have room to air out and stuff like that. So this is an idea. This will be the downside. I mean, this all will flip upside down to be set up right. So showing you what I'm doing. Off to the next one. Okay, this is what I've done so far. I pulled them out with the clamps on them and kind of made sure they were lined up. And this is a deck screw. And you notice that it's not all the way through because it will go through the wood. The deck screws I like because if you see the tip, you see that little notch. That's self-tapping, and it pushes the stuff out of the way, and it's got all these grips right here to really put it in place. Cedar's bad about splitting. That's why I do a pilot. I've got two drills here and one battery. I drill a pilot hole, and then I used my other drill to run these screws in, and I kind of, laid it out to get the process started. That's where I'm at right now. Might call it a day. It's almost 5. Get out of here and go get some supper or something. But hope it didn't go through. When these go through, what I'll do is I'll take a grinder to the other side and just take it off, because I don't want no sharp edges there. But I need to do that back side too. Give me a good start. I've had these little clamps for years, and boy, they're in pretty sad shape. I wish they were in better shape, but I'm glad I had enough of them. Anyhow, that's showing you my process. Need to get on to the next phase. When I was cutting that one board that I put the uprights on, I cut a second one, exactly the same length. So I'm already set up. Make the floor smell good. But I was going to show you guys. This was the problem I was telling you about. The screws are going to come through. And they did. So I'm going to have to take an angle grinder and just take these off and smooth it down flat, because you don't want them sticking out. But kind of looks like part of a fence. The boots will slide over right here. So I think I'll use a little bit of stain, and I even put the screws on the back side. Well, I mean, it's whatever. I'm not sure what side's going to stick out. Anyhow, I'm going to call it for today. Go put my tools up and go grab supper somewhere. Okie doke. That's it for today. Well, I've been a little busy since last talked to you guys. I completed this one, the one that's going to hold the big boots. And the screws came through, and I took a grinder and I ground them. And something weird, I kind of grind them and knock them over, and then I take a wrench, pliers, and I pull that piece off, and then I sand over it and make it to where you see it's not cutting me. And it kind of, excuse me, made these flower patterns here. So did a bit of sanding to it. This is going to be the side that's going to go against the wall. Now, I was looking at a couple different things to do. You remember at first when I was looking at it, I was thinking about leaning it over. And I was doing some experimenting and looking at what angles. And I ended up around the 70. Let's get 70 on here. Right there. See? 70. Right there where my thumb is. And that was going to lean about somewhere in that area. because I wanted a back piece to come over this back side and all, and it's kind of not working out. If you noticed anything about my projects, they're kind of a work in order. I come up with an idea. Originally what I was, well, some of the ideas that I come up with is to have 3 sizes of these and have 3 places. See, like this is the middle one. These shoes, which, where'd it go? Right here. This style of shoe will easily fit under the length of that one. And so I got set up for 3 pairs right there. And that is a 3/4 inch dowel. I used my little old-timey drill press with just a standard wood 3/4 wood bit, and it went through and it made this neat little hole right in the bottom, and so I ended up running a screw right through that. Right here, here, and here is the screw that I run through to hold this piece together with. And I really could use more room for, you know, have a third set. So I have 3, 6, 9, enough for 9 shoes. But the problem is, this is going to stick out way too far. In its configuration where it's at, I'm looking at, I just cut this board in 2. Both of these were 25, and so I was going to start with that. And I'm gauging around 12 to 14 inches. What I want to do is come out 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches somewhere, because this is going to be against the wall, and that way the shoe will have a little bit of room when that piece is going to fit up against this and this. And I'll use that Minwax foot. It's a light stain, but it'll make it look nice. And this would make it simple. This would make it where it's not gonna. See, I'm gonna have it's gonna be right beside the door, and I don't want this to stick out so far that it's gonna trip people going in and out of that door. But I want it by the door, so that way when you kick your shoes off, put them on this rack, everything's all nice and neat, and life is better. Yeah. Well, let me figure out something as far as that. These are cedar planks, eastern cedar. These are a 6-inch width, and they're for 6 by 1/2 or 5/8. They're cedar boards for fences. And you can see I marked a 70 on it. I had it down like this and marked that 70 on it, because originally what I wanted to do was lean that over and then have another one come up and be on this back side, but I don't think I can make it work. So anyhow, let me get on to the next one. Okay, this is what I got. Cut these 14 inches, and I use this as a guide to space that back on that. And then I used a 1-inch board right here. Excuse me. The same thickness as this to offset that right there. So 2 right there and 2 right there. Seems to fit on there pretty sturdy. This ought to be against the wall. This ought to be sticking out. Slap some stain on it and have a look at it then. Okay, that's what it looks like with a light stain on it. I found a problem with it. Apparently my table has a twist, and when I was bolting these ends on, one end is not lining up with the other. You can see that's flat down there and it's sticking up right here. So what I'm thinking on doing is taking one screw out of the front on either side, one screw out on the back on either side, and I'll have to put this on a different surface, or bring a long, maybe bring an 8-inch board in that's about this long. It'll stay straight, and I can put that on there, re-drill 2 holes, and should get it flat. Now on the bottom of this, I'll use a felt pad, one, two, maybe 3. Something like this, keep from marring up the floor. And I got this at the Dollar General store. I couldn't believe it. They had stuff like this around. And there's a square piece right there. I could use a strip of that instead of using any of these. So I was glad to find that. But the cedar always kind of comes out better. Now you see I left it rough, and I kind of wanted to. But you try to kind of eye it down this way, and you can see it twist in there. That means my table's got a twist to it. I mean, I don't care. This is going to take some time to dry now. And I'll bring a board in and re-straighten it and get that all set up. But that's it for now. Off to the next one, next video. Okay, remember I told you guys that I had a warp? This thing was warped and it wasn't going to fit on the floor flat. Well, I found this 2x10 or 12. It's an old piece of a waterbed, and I was cleaning out and I needed a big long straight piece of board, or I was going to have to haul this all the way up to the back porch and put it on the concrete. But what I did is clamp it down right here, and you can see there's no light shining through there or there. Took these 2 screws out, drilled a pilot hole. I'm making myself messy. 2 pilot holes and rerun them screws in there, so now it's good and flat. And so I made it flat. Let me look at, I may put a darker stain, I'm not sure. Let me look at that. Okay, I took a little stain and had a little bit of clear left in a can, and kind of thinned it down and to kind of darken this up. And another reason I was doing that is that this is pine, this is cedar, and I want to kind of match the look of it up. And I was able to straighten out the warp in it, and it's wet right now. I'm going to put it over there on the bench, and I got a little fan I'll put on it and let it dry for the next day or so. But that is pretty much it, other than putting them felt pads underneath that I was showing in a previous video. I really didn't want to use clear on it, but I used that clear to stretch that stain, what little I had left over in a small can. But the way this thing is set up, I mean, it's going to last a long time. Well, the camera crapped out again. Like I said, this thing will last a long time if it's not abused. I don't know why this camera, maybe because it's colder than hell outside, but anyhow, This will hold 6 pairs of shoes, and it won't take up much room. So I'll do another video of it on the porch looking all nice and pretty after it dries up, and then I'll do one of it all loaded up. So let me get out of here. Okay, this video showing where I put the pads here and here on the side. It had sticky on the bottom of it, so I was gonna staple it down, but if the sticky is holding, and once I get it in place, that should keep it there. But that's where I did them pads at. Off to the next video. Okay, there she is on the back porch, and I like to put it out like this so it can kind of have a walk around, have a look at her. Six pairs of shoes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pair over there. That's some leftover lumber and stuff that I used. Had a little can of clear left. Mixed some stain in with it, kind of darkened it up a little bit. Yeah, it's windy out. Let's have a look what it may look like on the in, or what's going to look like on the inside. Okay, that's what she looks like by the back door. Coats and everything up there. Mud boots and all that crap right there. Was stacking them up right there, getting away the door. Looks pretty good. Like how it turns out next to the plants and all. Well, I think I might take that plant and move it over right there. Anyhow, that'll be it on this one. Go make you one. You'll be glad you did. Catch you guys on the next video.